If liking villains is wrong, then I don't want to be right. Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Today, I will be just, doing some drawings that are completely self-indulgent. Just full cringe. My taste in men on display. I'm just kidding. No, but I think as far as characters go, I have always just really gravitated towards villains. I think that a good villain, a good antagonist, I guess I should say, is really essential to a good story. And let's be real, villains just serve, the fashion, the darkness. I'm all about it. So what goes into making a good villain, a good antagonist in writing? I think a big part of what makes a good villain is when they're a little, relatable. Like, you can kind of see their point, and it makes you question your own morality. I think villains that are completely 100% bad are just kind of lame. It's kind of like a hero that's 100% good. They're just very predictable. They don't really have any drive or humanity. I think it's natural for humans to have both good and bad traits. So, I like a hero that you question a little bit. And I like a villain that kind of makes you think. Now, what makes a villain sexy, you may be asking? Well, I think there are certain traits that go into a villain that make them hotter than most heroes. So, firstly, you're not really supposed to like the villain generally, and I think that forbidden fruit, it kind of makes you want it more. I also think that villains are generally a little freaky, and no, I will not elaborate. I think what also makes villains hot is that they would choose their love over everyone else. Like, they would watch the world burn if it meant saving the person that they care about. And I know that's supposed to be bad or toxic, whatever, but who doesn't want someone that obsessed with them? I'm sorry. Yeah. I should also probably tell you who I'm drawing and not assume that you are also a degenerate that plays League of Legends, such as myself. So this first character is Swain from League of Legends. I'll be honest, I forget a lot of the lore. I'm not much of a lore keeper when it comes to video games. I just know he's he's just this badass, he's a soldier, sergeant, I don't know, he's someone important in his country's military, and he made a deal with a demon for powers and stuff, and he's kinda bad, kinda neutral, I don't know, but I just think he's hot, and my friends make fun of me, and they call me a crypt keeper because I still think he's hot even though he's old. So, okay, and honestly, my philosophy with that is if you have reached a certain age and you still look really good, I feel I don't know if that's just a sign that you have good genetics or I don't know, it's just, there's something about it that I greatly enjoy. So yes, I will keep being Crypt Keeper. I will keep being a grave robber. And yeah, and I'm not gonna feel bad about it. Okay, so I actually have a really funny story. Well, I think it's funny, maybe you won't, but whatever. I have a funny story about Lucius Malfoy, and just geeking over him. It's funny, this is another one I get a lot of flack for. I think it's a similar thing to Swain. Like, they actually look a lot alike, obviously, but... And this is another one my friends just make fun of me for, but the funny story is me and my coworker were talking about, I don't know how we got on the topic of like loving villains or whatever, but we were talking about Lucius Malfoy. I think we were talking about like actors we think were hot, and we brought up Malfoy, like Draco, and I was like, okay, but hear me out. Draco's dad. And then me and her were just geeking and laughing about it. And then our other coworker comes in, and he was like, what are you guys laughing about? And we were like, oh, well, like, we just think Lucius Malfoy is hot. And he was like, ew, like, why would you find him attractive, da-da-da. And then at one point he was like, yeah, like, he just looks like he'd, like, chain you up and whip you. And me and her just, like, stared at him for a minute, and we were like, okay, and and he was just like, you girls are weird. And then he walks out of the break room. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, villains aren't afraid to do bad things, and for some people that is a good thing. As I mentioned earlier, the aesthetics of villains also pop off really hard. And as a goth, I have a lot of appreciation for characters, people who just kind of embrace darkness and, like, you know, I guess like creepy aesthetics and stuff. I think a lot of goth characters are villains. I mean, not all of them certainly, but I think they tend to be in that like vein of like darker styles. You know, it's like good always prevails in the story, but like the universe had to throw them a bone, and the bone that was thrown was fashion. If you are not familiar with the Castlevania animated series, you should get familiar, because we got Big Daddy Drac. He is a very fine villain, and I love just his whole vibe of like, I hate everyone except my wife. Like, that's such a big mood. Like, that's like my kind of guy. Like, I know you're not cheating on me. I'm kinda your only friend. I hate that I like that. Is that problematic? Is that toxic? Am I the villain? But yeah, I don't know. Just like angry looking dudes that just only like their wife. There's something about it. There's just something, it does something to me. And yeah, Big Daddy Drac here, yeah, he's got that vibe. Also though, like, spoiler, his wife dies in the series, which happens like in the very beginning. This isn't really like shocking, but really, like, goes off the deep end, huh? He is like, we're just gonna, oh, humans killed my wife? Time to exterminate all of humanity. Which, you know, you don't get that kind of passion from a hero, generally. Do I think this was perhaps misplaced and not great planning? And also, it's very obvious that the other vampires are going to throw a mutiny and not like this, because then they will have no people to eat. Yeah. But would my ghost be like, that's hot? Yeah. Saying that's hot so much in this video really just reminds me of the incredible duality of Paris Hilton, who, fun fact, had a pretty significant, culturally significant goth phase. If you have not seen the film Repo the Genetic Opera, you should check it out. Paris Hilton is full goth. And apparently the film was pretty low budget, so she lent a lot of her wardrobe to, you know, everyone like on the film. And she had a lot of goth clothes, and she used to go to the goth club. So you know, she looks like a pink princess now, but deep down, there's a goth in there. And yeah, I think I like that, because I think I too like pink cute things and girly stuff, and also like masculine dark things, so I think it's refreshing to see another woman that just like does her thing, you know, and can simultaneously enjoy both things. But yeah, check that movie out. It's a like classic goth movie. And yeah, Paris Hilton is obviously really iconic in it. Who would have guessed? And lastly, we have Damon Salvatore. A lot of people's first, like, introduction to liking a villain. He was definitely not the first villain that I ever liked, but okay, so Damon has committed some war crimes. We know. He is honestly like a huge turd. I'm trying to keep it PG here. A huge turd in the beginning of the Vampire Diaries series, I'm gonna be honest. But what I always admired about Damon is that he is always himself. He is never like, he doesn't like walk around ashamed of what he is and who he is. He is just kind of unapologetically himself. And he's like, he's just not afraid to like be the bad guy when no one else is willing to. Like, he will like do the dirty work, and he just like does what needs to get done, even if it's not the heroic thing to do. I also think even though he is a very messed up individual, most of his actions are driven by either genuine love or just selfishness. Like, it's not, he's not exactly like evil, he's just like very selfish. But yeah, he's just an interesting kind of complex character who does a lot of bad things, but like we forgive him. I don't know. Like, again, he does some really bad things. Like, I don't want to like spoil it or say, I don't know, he does some things that are like pretty triggering, but like, again, I think at the end of the day, I don't think he does a lot to like be malicious. He does it because he is either being selfish or like he is so obsessed with, you know, his love interest that like he would do anything for her kind of thing. So yeah, but yeah, yeah, like I said, I just kind of admire he's like, yeah, I'm a vampire. Like, I'm by nature, like, not really a good person. And I'm not gonna, like, pretend like I'm the hero here. And I'm like, oh, that's just so refreshing. Alright. These are my boys, my villains. I hope you enjoyed watching me draw them and talk about them. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And have a great week. Toodaloo.